This video has been created as a final project for the Florida Master Naturalist Program's Uplands module. For this video, Kevin and I decided to head toward the west central part of the state to explore the mixed woods habitat of the Withlacoochee State Forest. The third largest state forest in Florida, it is divided into 8 tracts of land. In the late 1800s, this area was nearly devastated by phosphate mining, timber, and turpentine industries. It is currently being managed by the Florida Forest Service. We began our hike in the Citrus Tract, an area with a varying topography defined by sinks, caves, hilltops, and ravines. The caves here provide evidence of Florida's geologic history. If you can imagine, this whole area was once covered by the sea, when all that existed of what is now Florida was just a chain of islands off the coast of Georgia.
So in here you can get a good look at Florida's karst topography. It's made up of limestone, and it's a carbonate sedimentary rock. It's very porous, so water can flow through it pretty easily. On a pH scale, it's basic, and the rainwater is slightly acidic. So over time, as it percolates through, it'll start to erode away the limestone. So you can see all these dimples up here, and as water drips through, it leaves behind a little deposit of calcite, and it'll start to create these little soda straws. And over time, these will get bigger and bigger. Probably not so much in this cave because there's a lot of people that come in here, but eventually maybe form a stalactite. As this rock erodes away over time, it becomes weaker and is no longer able to support the landmass above it. It'll collapse in and a sinkhole is created. Anyways, I thought this was a neat perspective of Florida's karst layer, and you can really get a sense of what Florida's aquifer might look like if you imagine this filled with water and not air. It's pretty cool.
This area is comprised of a variety of plant communities, like rocky hammocks, sandhill scrub, and longleaf pine turkey oak barrens. Succession has blurred the line between these xeric habitats, forming transitional areas of great diversity. A mixture of soft and hardwood trees with a dispersed understory is prevalent. You can see how tall and thick the understory is in this area. If you look at over here, there's a wide diversity of plants. This area obviously hasn't seen fire in a very long time. Right here is a huge oak tree. There's another one over here I remember. Red cedar. This little tree is sweet gum. They actually can get quite large. We have a bunch of little saplings growing all along this trail. And I've seen some large trees as we've moved through here. The only real edible part of this tree is the sap, which when hardened can be chewed. It's said that it was used to flavor tobacco. The interesting thing about this tree is the infertile seeds actually get a acid. It's called shikimic acid. And it's actually an ingredient in the Tamiflu. It's said that the Cherokee would make a tea out of the bark to treat flus. So I found that pretty interesting. Pignut hickory. This is sparkleberry. Pollinators love this. It's covered in bees and butterflies. It's the host plant for the striped hair-streaked butterfly. It blooms in the spring, and it's in the blueberry family. In the fall, it gets berries. They're mild, not quite as sweet as what you'd think of for a blueberry, but it can be used in jams and jellies. An extract can be made from the leaves to treat sore throat. And I was reading that the Seminole and early settlers would use the wood to carve tool handles out of. It's also pretty as an ornamental tree. Here we have some milkweed. The common name for this one is sandhill milkweed or purple milkweed. It's Asclepias humistrata. It's believed that the decline in milkweed is what has led to a decline in the monarch butterfly, and this is a host to both the monarch and the queen butterfly. And a lot of other pollinators use it as well. Bees, wasps, and other butterflies. The pollen is inside. You probably can't see it here, but we'll show you a picture. The pollen is inside the slit of each of these little flowers, and as the insect crawls across them, they pick up pollen on their feet, take it to other plants. It's really good to see it growing out here. It has a long taproot, about 12-inch taproot, about 1 inch in diameter, which helps it to handle fire and come back up later. It'll survive beneath the soil. And here you can see we have little mounds that run across from a pocket gopher. You can kind of see them through here.
Many animals live within these forested areas, each partitioning themselves amongst the layers. Some prefer a dense understory or tree canopy, while others need a more open habitat. Forest managers are working hard to restore and maintain a careful balance between these natural ecosystems. Fire has an important role to play in helping to prevent areas from being taken over by succession.
So this is a great example of a longleaf pine community. It's going to like a well-drained sandy soil. The understory is going to be nice and low in here. A lot of the plants that you're going to see in this area, I see a lot of wiregrass. Right here I see some turkey oak is another one. Over here I see some pawpaw. Areas like this are going to benefit greatly from frequent fire, about every 1 to 10 years. That helps keep the understory low. Conservation is very important to the wildlife that live here. Some of the animals that you might see are going to be deer, maybe fox squirrel, some quail. Another species out here that's endangered is the red cockaded woodpecker. The red cockaded woodpecker is the only North American woodpecker that bores its cavity into live pine trees, preferably in old-growth longleaf pines that have been affected by red-heart fungus. This causes the inner core of the tree to rot and makes it easier for the red cockaded woodpecker to excavate its cavity. They'll make their cavities about maybe 30 to 50 feet up into the pine tree, sometimes higher. It can actually take them 2 years or more to make the cavity. And going back to the importance of fire in these longleaf pine communities, it's also very important to the red cockaded woodpecker. If this understory gets to 10 or 15 feet, they will actually abandon their cavity.
Industries that once ravaged this land still exist today. No doubt we need to look for better alternatives. If we wish to save these vanishing habitats, we must evolve to view nature from a more holistic and less anthropocentric perspective. I dare to say that all life, including our own, depends on us doing so.